Hi, this is Mr. Che, just going to help you out with block 5 of the Honors Algebra 1 class. So let's get to it. I'm going to share my whiteboard with you. And so the first problem, I'm going to be going back and forth to my other computer that I have on the side of me, but check. Okay, so the first problem has a line like this. And what you are to do is you are to kind of find, let me just draw this out. You're supposed to find the variables that are missing, okay? So let me give you an example, okay? Let's say that this is 4 right here. This bottom portion is 4, and the height is 5, okay? And they ask you, well, let's say this is 8 and this is x right here, and this is y and this is like 20. Let's just say you have these numbers in front of you. So what you're supposed to do is you're trying to get the same ratio of slopes here. Okay, remember what the slopes are is the rise over run. Okay, so in this case here, let's use the rise. So the rise is 5 and the run is 4. So it'll be 5 over 4 is equal to, and so you're going to do proportions. I hope you remember that. Remember what a ratio is and remember what a proportion is. A ratio is, let's say, like 4 out of 8 equals, so this is a ratio, and let's say this equals 1 over 2. This is a proportion when they compare two fractions together, okay? But in this ratio here, we're going to try to find what the variables are. So the rise is x, the rise is 5 and the run is 4. So in this case right here, if we want to find the x, we're going to put that on top, and we're going to put the run on the bottom at 8. All right? So if you remember how to solve proportions, you have to cross multiply. So it'll be 5 times 8, which is 40, is equal to 4 times x. Okay? And then you divide this by 4 to both sides, and so x is equal to 10. All right? So now we have, let's try to find the y here. Okay, using that same ratio in the beginning, 5 over 4. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make that equal to, what's the rise here? So remember, the rise is on top and the run's on the bottom. So the rise here is 20, and the run here is y. So if we cross multiply here, the means and the extremes, I don't know if you remember that, but that's how you were being taught. It's just you're just pretty much cross multiplying. So it would be 5y is equal to 4 times 20, which is 80. And then you divide by 5 to both sides. And so what? Y is equal to 16. Okay, so I hope that you understand how to get these types of problems, because again, this becomes a ratio, and remember, ratios are equivalent to each other. It's just in a simplified version. So if this is 5 over 4, that means that this is 10 over 8. And remember, if you simplify 10 over 8, that equals 5 over 4. And if this is 20 over 16, remember, if you simplify that, that becomes 5 over 4 as well. Okay, hope that helps. All right, so the next problem is, okay, well, how do you know if 3 points lie on a straight line? Well, what you have to do is so let's just say we have 3 points. We have 0, 3, we have 1, 5, and we have 2, 7. Let's say we have these 3 points. And how do we know if all 3 of these points are on the same line? Well, you would have to get the slope of 2 points. Let's say we get the slope of these 2 points. Then you get the slope of these 2 points, okay? And if the slopes are equal to one another, then they are on the same line, okay? So let's try 0, 3 first. 0, 3 and 1, 5. So remember how to get slope. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that equals what? 5 minus 3 over 1 minus 0. Okay? And so 5 minus 3 is 2. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now let's get the slope of these 2 points. 1, 5 and 2, 7. Okay, and because we're going through this, both slopes are going through this one point, if we get the same slope, we'll verify that they are on the same line. So y2 is 7 minus 5 in this one, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, 2 minus 1, that equals 2 over 1. And since they have the same slope, they are on the same line. Okay, all right, I hope that makes sense. All right. What if, let's go on to the next problem, is what if a line passes through, let's say, the points 3, 6 and 4, 10. Okay. All right. So if a line passes through these points right now, what we want to do is in the beginning, okay, because it asks this question, what is the equation of this line? Okay, well, what we want to do is we want to, first of all, use this y equals mx plus b is super important, okay, because this is slope-intercept formula. You use this all the time. And remember what the m is here. The m is the slope, and the b is the y-intercept. That's why they call it slope-intercept form. Okay, so what are the two things you need to do to get to fill in this equation? Well, you need to get the slope, and you get the y-intercept. Okay, and so as from the problem before, we're going to get the slope first. And so the slope is going to be 10 minus 6 over, right, this 10 minus 6, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, 4 minus 3. That equals 4 over 1, and so the slope is 4. Okay, so far we have the equation y equals 4x plus b. And what we want to do is we want to find the b here. Okay. Well, with the information we have, how do we find out what the y-intercept is? Well, first of all, let's define what the y-intercept is. Okay, the y-intercept is where, let's say I drew a line here. Say I drew a line this way. The y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, remember that. It's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. That's what we're trying to find. Okay, all right. The x-intercept is where, and this is kind of, this is something extra, but the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. Okay. So now, how in this case we have to find the y-intercept. How are we going to find that? Well, I'm going to plug in temporarily either point. It doesn't matter. I could choose the 3, 6 or the 4, 10. I'm going to plug it in for the x and y just to solve the b. Okay. So let's choose 3, 6. So if I choose 3, 6 here, the y is 6 is equal to 4 times the x is 3 plus b. If we go from there, it'll be 6 is equal to 12 plus b. You subtract 12 to both sides, and so we found the b, we found the y-intercept, that's negative 6. So if you were to graph this, it would, the point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it would be right here. That's where the line hits the y-axis. So what's the final equation here? What is the final equation? Y is equal to, well, we got the 4x already, 4x minus 6. Okay, all right. So that is the starting point of the rest of the questions here. Okay, so now there are questions in this homework. Let me erase this. Let's make it a lot easier here. We have the equation y equals 4x minus 6. Okay, and they ask you, well, if x is 10, what is y equal to? What is y equal to? That's the question mark right there. What is y equal to? Well, with the equation, it makes it so much easier because all we have to do is, well, we plug in the 10 for the x, and then we solve for the y. Well, it becomes y is equal to 4 times 10 minus 6. 4 times 10 is 40 minus 6, so y is equal to 34. So if x is 10, the y is equal to 34. Okay? Well, what if they gave you, let's say, x, and let's say they gave you 24 as the y. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to find the x value. Okay, well, all you do is you plug in the 24 into this equation. 24 is equal to 4x minus 6. You add the 6 to both sides. So it would be what? 30 is equal to 4x. You divide by 4. So this is going to be a fraction. X is equal to 7 1/2. Okay. So I'm hoping that when you do something like this, make sure that you form the equation first in slope-intercept form, then plug in the corresponding numbers to find out what the other value is. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Again, feel free to ask me questions about anything. Feel free to reach out through Remind, through email. I will respond to you as quickly as possible. Okay? All right, so now the next assignment will be, they ask you, what is the steepest slope? Steepest slope. Well, all you have to do is just get the slope of all of the lines, and the highest slope, highest number, is the steepest slope. Okay? Well, how do you know which lines are parallel with one another? Well, you would know if they have the two lines have the same slope. Okay? All right. So let's say we have the point, let's say we have the points 0, 3 and 2, 4. This is line A. Okay? And line B is 1, 6 and -2, 0. And line B, and line C is 2, 1 and 4, 2. Okay? So if they're asking for what is the steepest slope, you need to find the slope of each of these lines. Okay? So 4 minus 3 on this one, 4 minus 3 over 2 minus 0, that equals 1 over 2. This is what? 0 minus 6 over -2 minus 1. Keep this in mind. Keep in mind your integers are super important. If you are not getting these right, then it's going to be really difficult. So 0 minus 6 is -6. -2 minus 1 is not 1. It is -3. This becomes a +2. So just by comparing these two lines right here, we know that line B, since it's a higher slope than 1/2, it is steeper than, so line B is steeper than line A. All right, let's go to line C. Line C is what? 2 minus 1 over 4 minus 2, right? Y2 minus Y1, which is on top, over X2 minus X1. So that would be 1 over 2. So which is the steepest line? Well, it's line B. Which lines are parallel? Well, we know that since this is 1/2 and this is 1/2, since they have the same slope, they are parallel. Okay? All right. Any questions? I hope you're clear on that. Okay. All right, so now they ask, well, what is the point, let's say of line A. Let's go with line B. Okay, if we have the points 1, 6 and -2, 0, Well, when they get to 10, what's y going to equal? Okay, they're going to ask this question. Well, when you get something like this, again, remember, you need to use these 2 points to form an equation. Form an equation. Okay, so remember the equation is y equals mx plus b. And remember, you have to get the y by itself. The number in front of the x is the slope, the m, and the b is the y-intercept. Okay, so let's get the slope first, and we already got the slope. The slope in this case, we got the slope here, the m is 2. So now we have to find the b. This b is again the y-intercept. So we plug in those numbers, it would be what? Let's plug in this one, 6, 1. So 6 is the y, is equal to 2 times 1 plus b. 6 is equal to 2 plus b. Subtract 2 to both sides. So b is equal to 4. Okay, so we have the equation y is equal to 2x plus 4. So now what do? Well, we have the x of 10, and what we want to do is we want to find the y. Well, how do we find that? Well, we plug in the 10 for the x here, so y is equal to 2 times 10 plus 4. Once you plug this in, 2 times 10 is 20, 20 plus 4, that equals, so y is equal to 24. Okay? I hope this helps. I hope you understand this. Again, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching all the way.